we're live. It's amazing at the great things that we're able to do, even for the people who can't be here in person. Tell me when we're live. Actually, your phones, if you're following us, you should know when we go live. All right, we live. We are live. Let me say thank you to Pastor CJ for bringing us in with, thank you, I see it, for bringing us in with good music for our Leadership Conference 2, and we thank those who will join us in our Leadership Conference. So let me say the first part, welcome, 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 welcome. Look at somebody, tell them welcome, 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 welcome. We welcome you, and we appreciate you for coming to the Leadership Live and those who will be joining us shortly, virtually. Okay, we've gone past the prayer. We've gone past the icebreaker. We were about to do the abstract, but I want to say this to the ministry leaders, and this will be the first thing that you need to note, that much of the success of the ministry, even for today, has happened just by you gathering. The gathering, the gathering, the gathering. It's very important that we gather, that we come together, So as often, it's like communion. Jesus says, as often as we do this, we do it in remembrance of him. So as often as you meet, whether you're meeting via Zoom, whether you're meeting in person, whether you're having phone calls or however you're doing it, that's some of the success right there. And I want to go to the screen that says a win is a win. I want to do the abstract right now. And then we're going to go to the screen that says a win is a win. So first of all of your meetings should take us back. Everybody say back. Every meeting that you have, it doesn't matter. I met with ushers, met with choir, met with ministers, met with various groups since we've been together. Every meeting should point us back. You know, everybody's trying to go forward, but for us, it's pointing us back to the Great Commission. Every ministry that meets should be based on biblical truth. We're not meeting to do the Rickey Harvey show, or we're not meeting to do whoever your ministry is, that show. We're not meeting for that show. Every ministry should point us back to biblical truths. And probably every ministry leader, we talked about this a little bit with ushers, a little bit we talked about it with choirs when I met with the choirs. Every ministry leader should have some literature from authors of church growth ministries. Everybody, you know, even the food pantry. There's things out there about food pantry. Matter of fact, who mentioned that to me? I'm going to meet with the food pantry ministry. We're going to have some discussion there. But everything should lead us back to authors of church so that it will assist leaders in excellence of ministry. So much of the success, even the success, if this is the ministry, one of the ministries that I'm leading, then I count this as a success because I have called and you have responded. Are all of our leaders here? No. But I have called and you have responded. Next screen shows us the ministries in our church. We did that in our last conference. This one won't take as long because some of the materials that we covered last week, I won't have to spend a lot of time with that. What this screen does right here is takes us to the next one that says, a win is a win. And I wanted to bring that one back to us to remind us that a win is a win. Are all of the leaders here? No. Are all of the people here that we wish were here? No. But a win is a win. A win is your infrastructure. It's your framework. It's your footing. It's your base. It's your underpinning. It's the foundation. And as far as the leadership of our church, this is foundation, and this helps us to push our ministry forward. So one of the things you got to start, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because I got a good screen for that, so I can't see it now because I don't want to overtalk that screen. So this would be normalizing next to. Normalizing next to. Normalizing next to. And normalizing next is what's upcoming. Every ministry, not always looking back, not looking back. Every time we meet, and even in churches, when I meet with pastors now, all the pastors are saying how many people we used to have, how many people used to be in the choir, how many people used to be on the usher board, how many people used to be on the trustee board. You can't keep looking back. Normalizing next. Next is what's upcoming. It's to come. Not where we been, it's to come. How many Bible studies we used to have? No, how many are we going to have? How many ushers did we used to have? No, how many do we have, and how many are we going to have? Okay? It's a full win. It's besides this what? Okay? And then next is, when we say next and normalizing it, it means the shifting, accepting. We don't have all of the choir members, and so we take this and we make a better, a best with this. It's accepting today. Everybody say accept today. Not accept, but accept. ACC. Accept it. This is my fate. This is my journey. This is where I am, and this is where I start. I don't start from yesterday. I start from right now. Okay? So don't keep beating. There's no need to beat yourself up because it's not like it used to be. Do you know I believe it is God's will that it's not like it used to be? I believe that it's God's will that is not like it used to be. And here's what we got to do. That's why it says our ministries have to be saturated with biblical truths. We have to figure out now. We have to position ourselves to hear God, because it's a new day. You got to hear God. The best, and I don't think it's going to be Sunday, but the best question ever asked in the Bible, in my opinion, was when God knocked Saul to the ground. And Saul responded. Okay, we've been knocked to the ground. COVID, this, that. Knocked to the ground. Shut down 18 months. Knocked to the ground. Saul gets knocked to the ground, and he says, Lord. Stop. Don't have to go any further. Lord. Okay? Lord. 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 Acknowledge God. Acknowledge God. We are ministers, and we don't fall as those who have no hope. We fall with hope in God. We fall knowing. We're not the lady who fell on TV saying, I fell and can't get up. That's not us. That's not us. That's not the house of God. That's not the people of faith. That's not ministry leaders. That's not pastors. We don't fall and say, I can't get up. What do? We fall down, but we get up. We fall down, but we get up. Saul fell at the hand of God. And you know what I think has happened to the church? The church failed at the hand of God. And it's our responsibility. And I'm not saying it's just that pulpit's responsibility. It's every leader in here responsibility to say, Lord, what would you have me to do? What would, people are asking me, Pastor, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's not me. It's not me. And to so many of our dismay, so many of us want it to be us. So many of us want to have the answers. So many of us want, I'm talking about me and leaders, pastors and leaders. We want to have the answers. We want the people to come to us and say what, and we want to be able so bad to have all of the answers, and that's why God knocked us to the floor, because many of us thought it was about us. Many of us thought we had the answers, and God has shown us now we've got to come like Saul, like we've been knocked off our beast to the ground, and all we got to do is say, Lord, listen, not Lord, I know what to do. Not Lord, I've been here before. Not Lord, this ain't gonna hold me down. No, it's Lord, what would you have me to do? That deserves a clap right there. If I have to, come on, y'all, come on. That's it. That deserves a clap. We got to come as leaders then. What would you have me to do? So now there are other slides on here that I'm going to just pass by. So that's normalizing next. I talked about we talked about in our last conference where the first Christians were. They were not being called Christians. They were called the way because simply, I do want you to get those rooted in Jesus. I never want to get past that one. Rooted in Jesus. Not rooted in tradition. Not rooted in the past. Not rooted in the bylaws. We don't have those problems here at Mount Olivet. Thank the Lord. We don't have those problems. Not rooted in a culture. They were rooted in Jesus. And they were people who caught it. Somebody said caught it. Caught it. They caught the Great Commission, which says go into all of the world. I'm not teaching Bible studies, so I'm not going to read all of that. This is a leadership retreat. But the mission, somebody said, what's our mission? The mission doesn't change. We don't create the mission or the vision. We create a route in which we do that God has set for us to do. All right? It's not for me to create the mission, me to create the vision. It's the vision and the mission is set. It's for us to win souls. I keep saying bring people in, build people up, and send them out. And our job is to build the path by which that takes place. So and it's done through ushering, it's done through hosting, it's done through greeting, it's done through proper management of the finances, it's done through family care, it's done through tribe, it's done through the youth, it's done through the music, it's done through the health ministry, it's done through every ministry that we have in the church. I want to go down to a slide that talks about discussion. I want to go to a slide that talks about discussion prior to that one, before that one, the green. I want to go to that slide. That slide right there gave us an opportunity for discussion in our in our first leadership conference. I want some discussion here. But what we discussed last time, give me that slide, it says, what was your biggest challenge during the pandemic? That's what we discussed last time. Remember that? What was your biggest challenge during the pandemic? It's showing like this because the PowerPoint is not popping like it does in a regular PowerPoint. We talked about what was your biggest challenge leading, and what was your biggest challenge in your church and in your life. That X is there. That X is there. Make an X. 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 That X is there because we cannot, as leaders, keep talking about the past. You understand? We cannot, as leaders, keep talking about how hard it was. We've done that, right? We've done that. We've talked about how disappointing and how difficult and how sad it was and how hard it was to come in and preach and how hard it was to not see the members and how hard it was to be virtual. We've talked about that, right? I'm home by myself having church. I can't get my computer to work. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. We've talked about that. Come on, church, say something. Amen. We've talked about that. X that out. X that out. X that out. When you meet with your ministry leaders now, X out the pandemic. X that out, X that out, X it out. Well, you know, it's the pandemic and we only get 2 ushers. No, it's not the pandemic and we only got 2 ushers now. It's where we are now, and thank God we got 2 ushers. Hello, somebody. Hello, somebody. Well, you know, we don't have all the choir members that we used to have. X that out. We got 5 choir members and they singing their behinds off. That's where we are now. You understand? All of the diaconate, they may not be here. All of the church. X that out. To God be the glory. Now I do want some discussion. I want some discussion. Blue frame. I do want some discussion. Because through all of that whining and all of that stuff that we all have done, you're still moving. You're still going. You're still going. You understand? You're still going. You're still going. So what I want to discuss now is, what's keeping you? Oh, there's a new song out by King George. You got to keep on rolling. You got to, I ain't going to say the rest of it. It's just this part I want to sing in the church. You got to keep on rolling. You got to keep on. You know, you can't sing all of these songs, but this part sounds good. It's appropriate. You got to keep on moving. What keeps you moving? What keeps you moving? What keeps you rolling? Okay? Because you're still rolling. And this is the part, ministry leaders, that I need you to know and that I need you to discuss. This is why I keep rolling. This is why I keep moving. This is why I keep moving forward. This is why I keep going. Take 5. Take 5 and gather you a group. I don't care what the groups are. I just don't want anybody by themselves. I want you to gather in groups and talk for about 5 minutes. What keeps you? Now look, give me the blue screen. 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 Blue screen. Look at that. Do you see that? I want you to talk about what keeps you moving, even as it relates to this script. Who's pushing you? Hello? Who's pushing you? All right, let's talk. So those of you in the virtual church, in the virtual world that are with us right now, you can tell us what has you moving forward, and you can put it in the comments section, and we'll talk about some of the things that you put in the comments section when we return. So take a moment to discuss with us, what is it that keeps you moving forward to the glory of God? Why you keep doing church? Talk about that. Put it in the comments section. We're having discussions now about what keeps us moving forward. Just join a group and join in some conversation about what keeps us moving forward.
Your voice, you have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. Oh, I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Oh, with every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. All my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after, it's running after. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. All my life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything. Your
Okay.
goodness is running
Okay. 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 So listen, I would like for a person from each group to come right quick and probably come to the mic because we are live. I would like for persons to come now and just give us a synopsis of what transpired in your group, what keeps you moving forward. So, come on. Come on, someone, y'all come. Come on, come on, come on. Everybody got to come. Everybody come. And listen, take about 1.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes, and just give us a, come this way, come this way, come this way. Everybody's going to come, and you're going to give us a nice synopsis of what it is. Lisa, you'll be first. Okay, come on, come on. Lisa will be first.
All right, good. I would say good morning, church, but I think it's good afternoon, church. All right, so we did meet in our group over here on the side, a few of us, and talked about what keeps us going, and I made a few notes here. So, first of all, one of our members said, playing the cards that we've been dealt kind of keeps us going, because thinking about the hand we've been dealt during the coronavirus, the difficulties we've been through, and then being able to give that as a testimony. So talking to other people about how we made it through and how we made it over kind of keeps us going and may keep somebody else going too, because we can say we made it through illness or trouble with our computers or whatever the case may be, and now we're going, and it helps keeps us going. Another one of our members said that trusting in the Lord and leaning on the Lord, I think it was Willard that says that, seeing difficulty as an opportunity. Okay, so seeing as a difficulty as an opportunity to change and do things a little differently can keep us going. And then, let's see, asking again, what would the Lord have me to do? Building on what got better. So Deacon Pugh was saying that certain things got better during, and myself, I confess, things got better for me at work during the pandemic. I don't know about anybody else, but the pandemic improved my life in terms of my profession. But anyway, so building on what got better, we learned how to do Zooms, we learned how to have meetings differently, and becoming more efficient. So building on that it makes us, it's something we can hold on to, and building on what got better. And Deacon Pugh used the example of how things in the medical field and the doctor's office keeps us going, because we can say, we've learned to do this efficiently, and now it's gotten better. Sister Bivens was saying that the blessings that we had while she was in the hospital kept us going. When she was in the hospital for a short period of time, she was blessed by people, blessed by having a private room, and basically the way things were functioning, and having those special blessings kept things going. And Sister Mitchell was saying that having fellowship, coming back to the church and being able to fellowship, seeing people, being able to bump hands or see people face to face is what keeps her going, because now she's not in her worshiping at home, but seeing other people face to face. So, and checking on one another, realizing who's not here, and checking on them will keep us going too, because we have to look around and see who's not here and check on them, and then keep going and keep moving, and maybe moving toward going to see that person face to face and finding out what they need. So all of those things, things that we came up with that kind of keep us going, okay? Thank you.
Okay, good morning. My group, I didn't write anything down, so this is going to be real quick. First of all, what we did is we talked about how the pandemic helped us, things that we learned, how did the pandemic save us, how we were able to stay in connection with our family, our friends, our church, and do even our jobs and all the things that we were able to stay in connection with. Then we didn't decide anything. Sister not Alice, but Audrey brought us back to where we were supposed to be. And the question was about how were we able to survive during the pandemic. And we decided and talked about our faith, how our faith kept us moving, how our faith kept us strong, how our faith kept us in control of our lives and the things that were going on, because we knew that God was going to be with us. God was with us as we experienced. And one of the things Sister Audrey talked about is the fact that she didn't get sick. She talked about the need for the food pantry, working in the food pantry, because people needed food, and because of those things, she felt the need to stay strong, to continue to move, to continue to do the things that she needed to do the work that God gave her to do. Sister, I want to talk about this one specifically. Sister Hale, she talked about how she came to the usher board meeting the other night, and she was planning on quitting. She had her badge in her pocket. She was ready to hand it in. However, Pastor talked about staying committed, the fact that work still needed to be done, so she changed her mind, and so we all were praising and thankful for that. So that's our report.
Okay, our report. What keeps us moving? Other people depending on us, self-commitment, God is in control. What keeps us moving? A better day's coming. Over the song says, trouble don't last always. What keeps us moving is the Holy Spirit, and that we're goal-oriented. Lastly, knowing what we are grateful for. What keeps us moving. That's our report.
All right. So we talked, Danette, Eunice, Ruthie, and myself, we talked about, Ruthie was talking about maintaining mental health status and the people that she works with, because there are some who got a lot going on in their heads, and that's what she does for a living. So she's just staying on top of her population. And then we talked about sustainability. Danette was saying that the youth need guidance and reminders about sustainability in the church, because all of us are going to get old, so we got to get them ready to come after us and pick up where we left off. So we need to start teaching them more about what we do and let them see what we do, so it'll be something that they just seamlessly move into when that time comes. And then Eunice and I talked about purpose. In Sunday school, we always talk about our purpose. And God left us here. He didn't take us away with COVID, because we all have purpose. When he's done with us, we're gone. So what is your purpose? And what are you supposed to be doing? And do you know what you're supposed to be doing? So that's what we talked about.
Greetings. I'm reporting from the greeters, and actually it was Van and myself who put our heads together, although I see several of our greeters in the midst, because we serve in different ministries. However, what we were focusing on is that our faith is what keeps us going. Also, our desire just to reach out to others and our commitment to serve through our talent. We feel our talent is being able to interact with people and to make them feel welcome as they come into the church. Sometimes people may come in with a really downtrodden type feeling, and sometimes you can see it in their face. And if you just say, welcome, it's good to see you, you can see them, straighten up and feel much better. The other thing that kept us going during COVID was that we have a chat group, and we couldn't see each other, so we started sending a chat every morning, and we would encourage each other. We send prayers, we send greetings, just things to keep us motivated and to keep us together. And even since we got back into the church, we continue this chat. And we come in at different times, early in the morning, so if you're an early morning riser, Jacqueline is good. She will send you a chat at 12 a.m. If you get up a little later, you can be sure to get a chat from Beverly around 6 a.m., and so on. So during the morning, no matter what time, you will get some kind of greeting, and sometimes we'll get a chat at the end of the day. And Miss Eunice is beautiful when she sends these long prayers that lifts up our spirit. and keeps us going during the end of the day. So those are the kinds of things that keep us going as greeters. Thank you. God bless.
Okay, our group came up with, we're just so glad and thankful that God kept us here when millions of people aren't here standing and sitting with us. And we know that he has a purpose for us. In everyone's life, there's a purpose, and we have to know it. We have to find it first, know it, and we have to walk in the way God wants us to walk, and that's being loving, kind. And the second thing, it came up that Janice said that just the gifts that God gives her and has been given her, and she mentioned just happiness. And Sister Cheryl Lattimore, she said the motivation from the children. She said at one time the children were leaving, but the younger ones came on board, and she's loving it. It just gives her something to look forward to. And someone mentioned just getting up every morning and being thankful and praying to God, thanking God for everything that he gives and has given to us. And somebody else just said just being alive, being alive. And our group said that, you know, we look at just thanking God for everything he brought us through, because you got to go through it to get through it. And right now we can say we're sitting here and he brought us out, and we thank him for it.
Giving honor to God. There's been a couple of, first I'm going to talk about the AV. We've been trying to but move forward on enhancing the experience. You know, we want people who are sitting at home want them to come back, you know, where they can see, well, they can hear it, and they say, well, I need to be part of that, so they can come back. So that's one of the things we are working on up in the AV. The other important thing, excuse me, men's ministry. Since this pandemic happened, we had a big disconnect on the men's ministry. I have to be honest about some things. I'm very discouraged. We went scattered in different directions. We tried to find ways to, I tried to find ways to stimulate that conversation. I was talking to our chairman of Diagonate last couple of weeks on what we can do to figure out what we need to do to make the men interested on being part of the ministry. Number one, you're part of the ministry because you're a member of Mount Olivet Baptist Church. Okay, so that's the number one thing. The second thing is that more hands on that gospel plow makes the work a lot easier. Makes it a lot easier. I have a passion for Christ. I want to do his work. But it was said several times before, if you got to do it yourself, you're going to miss out on something. You're going to drop something. And my next is reaching out to all the men in Mount Olivet Baptist Church, letting them know that we are a very important part of this church. You know, and there's no knock against you guys here, right? But the ratio of women to men are like 2 to 1 right now. You know, and I know there's a lot of guys that right now sitting at home, getting ready to watch college football, and that's it. Or hitting the golf course. I'm not, you know, I understand that. You know, I understand everybody wants to do what they want to do, but I got to tell you the truth about it. We need more men, because in Mount Olivet Baptist Church, we have over 200, I have 200 contacts in my phone of Mount Olivet men. When I send a text out, I get maybe 4 or 5 responses. So I'm asking the men out there, tell me, what do I have to do to get you to come back? God bless you.
Good afternoon. My name is Beverly Howard, if you don't know. Anyways, I'm not with the group. I'm just speaking on behalf of the Sanctuary Choir and most of the members. And basically what we're trying to do, we're trying to hold on. We're trying to bring the music to you, enlighten the load through song, and be there in numbers. No matter what goes on, we still enjoy singing, especially together. So I'm just saying, we're trying to enhance ourselves and do what needs to be done to bring the songs to you. Thank you.
Yes. Sister O'Neill, did you want to, Sister O'Neill, Sister Blair, did you want to speak on behalf of the women? All right, but I got to go now. Our time, I got to go. Listen, really, I could end the session if we take what you just said. If we take what you have said, if I had all of what you said in this presentation today, I would not have had to work on anything. Because you gave us everything. You gave us everything that we need for growth, everything that we need for sustainability. When I was a little boy and I would get in trouble, I stayed in trouble at school, and my mama would be talking to me. She said, and so what are you going to do? So what do you need to do? I said, I just need to go to school and sit down and behave and do my work and not talk back and not do this. And my mama, do you believe what you're saying? I just need to go to school and behave. You understand? You got all of the answers. Listen to God. Listen to your heart. Listen to your heart. Listen to you. God is not so far that he has not touched you. God is not so far that he has not touched us and given us. There's a slide that says each and every painful moment, each and every painful moment we have endured has offered us a seed of information to help us going forward. You didn't die. You didn't die. You didn't die. I think Brenda Kane, of all of the words that I heard, among the words that I heard the word purpose. Purpose, Marilyn Rainey. 2. You didn't die. Why? There were some people who were better by nature than we are by practice who died. There were some people who are far more healthier than all of us put together. They died. You didn't die. Why? Because God is not through with you yet. God has purpose for you. Back to Saul. Now, what would you have me to do? And so every painful, I get the painful moments. That's why I wanted us to see it, but I wanted us to exit out. I get it. We get it. But I want us to know that those moments offer us seeds of information to help us, seeds of inspiration, seeds of encouragement. It's for our good. It's for our good. Now, next slide, there's a caution that I wanted to give you in ministry. There's a caution that I want to give you in ministry as leaders. I want to give you this. No whining. Everybody repeat, no whining. No whining. Somebody say, too late now. Somebody said, you should have showed that slide before we got started. No whining, no whining, no whining, no complaining, no giving up. Quitting is not an option. Come on. It's not enough. What a testimony, what a testimony, what that bless my soul. Sister Hale, thank you. Thank you. You are a testament to what we're doing now. If we encourage each other, encourage. Now, if I come in here and I say, oh, I had more people, I was preaching to more people before the pandemic. But I said, after I got through preaching to that computer, when 10 show up, that's how God humbles us. That's how God takes it off of us. That's how God shows us that it's not about you. I preached to the church full, I preached to the church almost empty, and then I had to preach to a computer. And so God showed, it's not about you. It's not about what makes you feel good. You understand? And when I say you, I'm a you in whatever capacity you serve, that's the you. Yes, I would like for the church to be full. Yes, I would like for the church to be happy. Yes, I would like what everybody else like. But Lord, what would you have me to do? One, it goes back to infrastructure. What if God packed the church and the infrastructure is not there? What if God packs the church and we're not ready? Listen, let me tell you something. One of the worst things that ever happens to churches, one of the best way for a church to break apart is that it grows real fast. As a matter of fact, they say that's not growing. When you see a church where they just popping in, they say that's not growing, that's swelling. That's not growing, that's swelling. When you see everybody leave this church and they all run over there, that's not growth, that's swelling. That's swelling. Anything that's swelling on you is unhealthy. Okay? So, next slide says leadership is not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the faint of heart. The race is not given to the person that can run fast. It's given to the person who's willing to run. It's not how fast you run, it's that you run. All right? And how do you run? Run this race with patience. Not looking to be in, not looking to Pastor, not looking to Pew, not looking to Willard, not looking to Cresswell, not looking to the chair of the board, not looking to the chair of the finance, but looking unto Jesus. You know, one of the biggest crashes Rickey Jr. ever had on the bike was riding and looking at me. And when he passed me, he kept looking at me. You understand? Because who is he impressing? Dad, look. So he starts riding toward me, looking at me, and when he passes me, he's still looking at me, looking at me. Boom! It just don't get no better than our leadership conferences. Looking unto Jesus. Don't take your eyes off of the Lord. We crash and we burn. Leadership is not for the faint. I put this here for Wade Davis because he sings this song and it blesses us tremendously and it falls right where we need. Everybody, let's do this together. When my heart is overwhelmed, stop. 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 One more time. When my heart is overwhelmed, stop. Because it will be. Listen. It will be. It will be. Don't think you're going to lead a ministry that consists of people. Somebody say, what is it that you do every day consistently? Can I tell y'all? I make sure I got a loaf of bread. I sit on the back of my steps and I throw it out to my chickens. And it is the most decompressing, relaxing moment of my day. I go to a funeral, I have a counseling session, I hear people tell me what they got to tell. I take in all of this and all of that. I pay all my bills. I keep gas, $129 in my truck worth of gas to fill my gas tank up. I pay light bills and phone bills and grocery bills and this bill and that bill, and then something breaks down in the house. I just got it fixed and they didn't fix it right, and I can't find them, and the phone number ain't the right number no more. What do? I go sit on my back porch, and somebody say, where this conference came from? It came from sitting on my back porch, throwing bread to the chickens, watching the chickens just not have to worry about nothing. Watching chickens just not worry about a thing. They come all up on me, they get all over me, They don't worry about anything. And I say, if these chickens don't have to worry about anything, they know what their house note is paid. They got a light that comes on at 5 o'clock in the morning. It goes off at 7 o'clock in the evening. Their light bill is paid. The food never runs out. They have a 50-pound trough of food that never runs out. They got 2 7-gallon water tanks. They never worry. Don't you know God has more than 50 pounds of food? Don't you know God has more than 14 gallons of water? Don't you know God has more than a fluorescent light that comes on at 5 and goes off at 6? God has everything. What do we have to do? Get somewhere. It may not be on the back porch where you can throw bread out to chickens. Everybody needs an altar. An altar. An altar. If this is the we need the altar back. We need the altar back. We need the altar back. We've always had the altar. If you don't have an altar when you leave here, if you don't have an altar when you leave here, I suspect this altar is going to have trouble doing you some good. If you don't have an altar, just in case some of my members are listening and they say it's not an E, it's an A. If you don't have an altar when you leave here, as a leader, I suspect you're going to have problems getting this altar to do you some good. Find you an altar. Next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide, next slide. I know we didn't finish that one. Let's go to this one. When my heart is faint, everybody together. When my heart is faint, stop. Oh, see, Brenda don't never do right. And y'all ask me, Brenda don't ever do right. Brenda don't ever do right. You know what I asked Brenda a few days ago? I said, how do you stay on my favorite members list? You don't ever do right. I don't know. When my heart is faint, I wanted to stay there for a moment with leaders. I'm not going to keep you long today. I wanted to stay there right there with leaders because that's where leaders get. That's where leaders get. And leaders, you might get there, but you can't stay there. You understand? I am not going to take the human side from you away because I can't take it away from me. I can't take it away from me. I'm you. You're me. We're people. When my heart is overwhelmed, it gets there. When my heart is faint, God, lead me to the rock. Come on, y'all. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. Lead me to the rock that's bigger than ever. Pastor, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Listen, these are all the answers that I have. These are all the answers that I have. Listen, Rob Mitchell did this for me in, was it 6 and 12? Family Care Team 6 and 12. Rob Mitchell did this for me. I got to tell y'all, this changed my life. This changed my life. Next slide. This changed my life. This changed my life. Rob Mitchell was walking out the door and somebody said something. He says, I'm on a stress-free diet. Can I tell y'all something? I've been trying to lose weight. I'm serious. I've been trying to lose weight, When I got on this stress-free diet, that's when weight started coming off. That's when I stopped taking headache pills all the time. You can't stress out over everything. You cannot be the leader. You cannot be the leader stressed out over. You really can't be stressing and leading at the same time. Imagine you're the driver. I'm the passenger. You're the driver. These cars are there. Too much traffic. Stop. You can't drive like that. You can't drive like that. You can't. You can't. So I don't have the answer to how. Give me that slide back. I don't have the answer to how you're going to do this stress-free diet. I don't know how you're going to do that. Me, I've learned how to just sit and decompose, decompress, relax, and acknowledge this one is too big for me. I can't fix this. You know what I'm not embarrassed to say anymore? Is that I don't know. I'm not embarrassed to say anymore. I don't know. I don't have the answer. Let's work on this together. You know why we've called? I don't know. I don't know all the answers. I don't have all of the answers. So leaders, let's work on this together as stress-free as you possibly can. I did pull this slide back up. The next slide talks about challenges, and I have to talk about the challenges here. When faced with a challenge, look for a way and not the way out. All right, I'm going all the way back. I'm going all the way down to now unto him. Because if we don't acknowledge God, if we don't keep God first, now unto him, if we don't keep God first, leaders, if you don't keep God first, you'll stay discouraged. You'll always want to quit. You'll always feel alone. So give me that now unto him who's able. Let me tell you something. Ministry is one of the loneliest jobs. Ministry, leading. This is one of the loneliest jobs. And the funny part about it, it looks like the most popular job. It's so deceptive. It's so deceptive. The person right there. And in your case, the person who's leading your job, you're doing the talking in your meeting. You understand? You're giving the directives in your meeting. And so you look like the most popular person. But what they don't know is you're the person who probably by yourself had to put the agenda together. By yourself. Possibly had to call everybody. By yourself. Possibly had to go get the breakfast. By yourself. You understand? Ministry is lonely. Nobody's breaking your door down saying, let me help you work. You understand? Nobody's breaking the door down saying, let me help you work. You do? The Cresswells. Ah, that deserves a hand. Wonderful. Wonderful. You understand? So inasmuch as it's a job that requires a lot from you, one of the things that Jasper Williams, Reverend Dr. Jasper Williams said to a group of preachers during the pandemic when we, like what to do, he said to us, and I'm going to say it to you, he says, you're built for this. Not everybody is built for this. You understand? You're not the women's chair for nothing. You're not the chair of the diaconate for nothing. You're not, it's not the fact that nobody else, somebody will always stand right there and preach. Somebody will, remember, you're replacing somebody. You're not in a position that didn't have nobody. You're replacing somebody, and somebody is going to replace me and you at some point. But you got to understand, and it always looks like God uses man to get us into the places where he wants us to be, but you're built for this. So whatever challenges that come, and I have to talk about that, you're built for that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're built for that. You're built for that. I want to go back. I'm talking to AB. I want to go now to the maps. I want to go to the maps. I want to get 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 to the map. I want to spend the rest of the time talking about the map. The ministry action plan. Ministry action plan. The ministry, right there, that map. The map. You had it, the map, right there. That's map. Do y'all remember when we really had maps? Remember, you know, when I left Memphis to go to Tucson, I got really, really brave and decided to drive from Tucson to Memphis. And guess what my gift was? It was what they call a map ticker. Anybody know what that is? A trip ticker. I guess you do. It was a trip ticker. And this is where somebody has gotten a thing from AAA, trip ticker. Okay, y'all older than me anyway. You know, I'm gonna get you back. Y'all older than me anyway. It was a trip ticker. And it had the restaurants you were gonna pass by, it had the cities, it had the lights, it had the hotels, it had the interstates, and we would be driving and looking at the ticket, see, okay, we right there, and the persons who were sort of measuring us and calling would say, okay, they would call us. We did have cell phones then. They were about this big. They would call and say, okay, you should be in Texas now. Well, you know, next 2 days later, they call you still in Texas. If you've ever driven through Texas, 2 days later, you're still driving through Texas. Don't ever drive through Texas. It's a sentence to hell driving through Texas. You know, and we get a call the next day. You should be now, according to the ticker, you should be in Amarillo. Now you should be in Houston. Now you should be in, it just sort of tells where you're going. And it even sort of paces you. If you're keeping up with the speed limit, you should be here at this particular time. That's kind of what the maps do for the ministry. You set up sort of a ministry ticker. Did you say ticker? Ticker. Yeah. So you set up a ministry ticker. Oh, tick.
Like a deer
Tick. I got to stop bringing up stuff that I don't know what I'm talking about. I got to at least know how to pronounce it. if I bring it up, if I bring it up, don't you think I should know how to pronounce it at least? I tell y'all what, Sister Celine Johnson used to tear me apart on stuff like that. But anyway, trip ticker. Tech tripper. Trip ticker. I said tick. Trip tick. Trip tick. So what I'm trying to say is, this is our map tick. Yeah, this is our map tick. This is our map tick. This is our map tick. I want to go to the slide that says the church. The slide that says the church. The slide that says the church. Yeah, there's been some struggling, grappling for change, shifting approach to the church. To God be the glory. Shifting approach to the church. There's a shifting approach to life. You know, I don't know if y'all having problems getting the oil change. Anybody? You gotta make appointments now. You just can't drive. I used to take my car to Wayne and say, Wayne, I need an oil change, and you get it done now. Now you got to get an appointment. And the appointment you might need an oil change today to leave town tomorrow. They can't get your oil change till October the 30th. I just picked up my Beetle yesterday from an oil change that took me 30 days to get the appointment. What you say? Oh, I don't go to Delta Sun for oil changes. Yeah, everything. So life is. But now, what did I learn? What did I learn? Listen. Don't complain. Learn how to adjust and go for your next. I'm not going to wait until my car says 0% on the oil to make an appointment to get an oil change. You understand? Listen, everything is a lesson to learn and not to complain. Life has changed. So now I know you can't wait. You just can't run in and get oil. I take each of my vehicles to the dealership to get the oil. That's about the only thing I let the dealer do is change the oil. I let the dealers tell me what the problem is on the other stuff, and then I take it to my friends. But I do let them change the oil. But I learned that you got to get the appointment before it's time to get the oil change. Life has changed, and we have to adjust. So church has changed, and we have to adjust. It's not slow, and the change is not slowing down. It's not slowing down. Change is every day, every day, every day, every day. And it's not staying in the same place, and it's changing rapidly. Now, I go to the next slide, where once again, that X is up there is because never again will I complain. I did not complain. I was sharing a lesson that I learned. I'm not complaining about how long it takes to get an appointment for an oil change. I'm sharing with you the lessons that I have learned about properly maintaining the maintenance on my cars. And that's the same thing about our ministries, not complain, but what lessons are we learning about the ministries that we're leading? We want everybody to adjust, but guess what? We have to adjust. We have to adjust. I'd love to preach hour-long sermons, and I can. Y'all don't believe me? Y'all don't believe me? Y'all don't believe me? You believe it? Okay. All right, okay. I'd love to. But guess what we have to do? Adjust. So when I get through with my message, I'd like to be through with my message about like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And then I have to go back and I have to take, listen, I have to take all of the Rickey out of the sermon. Do y'all understand? I go through the message and I try to get, may not be perfect yet, but I try to get all of the Rickey out of the sermon. You understand? So when you start leading your ministry, look at your agendas, look at your purpose, and then go back through your agenda and get all of the you out. Y'all ought to clap. That was good. That was good. Yeah. Get all of the you out. Get all of the you out. And so give me this slide with the X in it. So in as much as above that, yeah. So again, when I say I wasn't complaining, I was sharing with you the lessons that we learned. Here we go. It's unpredictable. This is where the world is now. It's unpredictable. It's uncertain. It's unable to. You can't project anything. It's the seasons are up and down. No long-term certainty. Gut-wrenching changes, frustration, inadequacies, anxieties, and fear. Now let's X all of that. In other words, let's not talk about how long it takes to get an oil change anymore. We have learned that lesson. Either plan earlier or go to Delta Sonic. Hello? Either make your appointment earlier or go to Delta Sonic. Stop. This holds us back. Now, let's go to the next one that talks about two things. Again, where it says the struggle. Those would be individual slides if you had the PowerPoint. It talks about the struggle. X that out. X talking about the struggle. And talk about the relevancy. All right? The relevancy, not the struggle. All right, I want to go down to the slide that talks about it has COVID at the top, but I don't want to talk about COVID. It has COVID-19 at the top. If I had time, I would have X COVID-19 out. The only thing I want us to start to do is pivot. You learned that from Donald Trump. Got it? You're supposed to be talking about just adjust. Talk about something else. Okay? Pivot means to, as opposed to the problem, pivot and work towards solutions. Pivot. As opposed to problems, pivot. And when people come, I'm not, in no wise am I saying ignore anybody. And I need to make this clear. Everybody's concern is everybody's concern. Everybody's concern. If it's important to them, it's important to you. You just have to know how to handle that without that becoming a COVID to you. Okay? Hear, listen, hear, honor what your people are saying, learn. Some people may say, like y'all are saying, maybe saying the same thing y'all are saying right now. I don't come to the meetings because you talk too much. You understand? You get me? Some people may be saying, I don't come to the meetings because you do all the talking. Okay? Don't just hear that and ignore that. Don't just hear it and ignore it. Everything that you hear, you have to, the Bible talks about ways and balances, weighing and balancing. You got to weigh it and balance it, all right? Weigh it and balance it and pray about it to see how much of this, sift it, okay? Sift it. And what's left in the sift to deal with it, all right? Rethink. So people keep saying, every conference we have, I'll have to remind me to rethink. I try not to just get up and talk about Moses was on the backside of Mount Sinai. And while Moses was on the backside of Mount Sinai, he saw a burning bush. I need to make that relevant to you so that you can understand you being on the backside of life and what's burning in your life and what won't go out in your life. I've had to rethink preaching. I've had to rethink the messages. I've had to rethink the presentations as your leader. And as the leader of the group that you lead, you've got to rethink the message. You've got to rethink the method. You've got to rethink the presentation. You've got to rethink the purpose. Not only do you rethink, Diana Butler Bass says, reimagine. Reimagine. What she taught us to do, Diana, was to dream. Everybody say dream. Dream. Leaders have to dream. You don't just get all of this. Get a dream. You got to dream. Okay? And then there's another thing she talks about is re-traditionalizing. There's a slide that says a win is a win. There's a slide that says a win is a win. Slide that says a win is a win. Win is a win. Dream. Call your people together. Have a purpose. Listen. I got to keep reiterating this because I know what discouragement feels like. I know what throwing in the towel feels like. I know what it ain't worth it feels like. I know what I've done all of this work and only this amount of people showed up. I know what that feels like. Give me that, a win is a win. If I get one person to hear, not Ricky, but to hear what the Lord is saying, if I get one person, I have, the purpose has grown 100%. Hello, somebody. If you get one person on board, one person on board, women, men, ushers, greeters, diaconate, food, health, Alzheimer's, youth, Christian education, trustees, ministers. If you onboard one person, you've onboarded, you've grown 100%. You got it. And now another person has it. That's 100% growth. A win is a win. So when you leave that meeting, how was it? We had 100% growth. Or you could say, nobody showed up. You calling Dr. Mitchell a nobody? Are you calling Sister Hartzog? Are you calling Sister Hall a nobody? Only Sister Hall showed up to your meeting and you say nobody showed up? Brother Trustee, only Janet showed up for the meeting and you say nobody showed up? Hello? Do y'all understand? 100%, ministry action plan. Now listen, this week we had the opportunity, since the last meeting, I've sat in with several ministries. I was impressed. Again, it's not about impressing, it's about impact. The impact, not the impress, because we could paint a big, pretty picture and impress, but only a ministry will impact. The health ministry had a very impactful approach. I'm going to mention these things, and then Dr. Mitchell is going to come up and talk about her plan. I tried to get it into PowerPoint. I probably should have called you, Dr. Danette, because you did so well with us last time. I couldn't make that work from a Word document into this without typing all of that. So there are some steps. One is, where are we? That's always important. Where do we want to go? That's always important. How do we want to get there? That's always important. What are we going to do? And when and how are we doing? That's always, how are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? And it's a circle. It's called the circle of success. Okay? It's the circle of success. The circle of success. Where are we? Just going in a circle. Where do we want to go? How are we going to get there? And what are we doing when we get there? And what are we doing step by step? And how are we doing? How are we doing? Okay, there's another slide, I think, right behind that. It says, number one, discover. Discover. You want to discover. Dream. You want to clarify your discovery. You want to clarify your discovery. This is what I came up with. Everybody say that. This is what I came up with. This is what I came up with. But if you don't clarify that, if you don't verify that, means talk with somebody else, gosh, you can be so disappointed with your dream until it'll make you quit. It'll take us back to those slides that we X'd out. Okay? So once you dream it and discover it and dream it, you've got to talk it. That's to clarify. You got to talk it. Nobody knows what's in my head. Right? And guess what? Nobody knows what's in your head. And people are not mean because they don't just because we don't understand what's in your head. You got it worked out step by step, but nobody has it but you. You know where every class is going to be. You know where every step is going to be. You know the trip tick. You got the trip ticked out. Bam, bam, bam. We're going to be here. We're going to be here. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. But nobody knows that but you. So you got to dream, discover. You got to clarify, talk. And then you got to mobilize. Now, this is my part. By bringing you here, and talking and talking and talking and talking and listening and talking and calling and responding and calling and responding. And I shared with two pastors this week who are writing out similarly what we're doing. And they said, well, I'm going in. I said, oh, no, you just can't go in and just say this what we're doing. We're buying into dreaming. You got to buy into the fact that you dream. You got to buy into the fact that you talk and that you clarify. You just can't take what I'm saying and like, well, pastor said, no. You got to go home and digest this. You got to talk with your ministers. That's why I say your first plan of action after you leave me is to have a meeting. And then you have your own leadership retreat. What does dream look like for us? Because everybody's dream is totally different. What does clarify? Pastor said that we talk. What do we talk about? And then we mobilize. That's by getting the people to moving. Also by establishing goals, building strategies with our plans. I don't have all of the answers, and neither do you. I don't, and you don't. So you bring groups of people. If I turned you all loose right now and said, let's talk about it, let's mobilize, we would have 30 different opinions and 30 approaches, and then we would break that down and break that down and break that down until we come up with an approachable plan. With a plan that we can attack. Okay? So it's okay. So know this. It's okay when you come with your dream and it gets picked apart. Okay? Okay. So don't get tore up when your dream gets picked apart. Wonderful. That's just people buying into your dream and getting ready to help you to mobilize. And then you review it. All right. So the one that I looked at this week that I thought spoke to all of those things was the usher's approach. So I'm going to ask Dr. Mitchell if she would come. I think it's in most of your programs, and just sort of talk about it from that approach. How we dream, how we talk, and how we approach it. Now, let me say this as she comes. Come on. One of the things you're going to notice it should be in your package, you're going to notice some scratch outs. You're going to notice, and I wanted it in just like this. I did not want a perfectly, I hate to use the word but please forgive me for not having a better word. But listen, I did not want a perfectly written map. I wanted you to see a work in progress. You understand? As opposed to, oh, here it is, this is it. No, here is one that's in progress. And I wanted you to look at it from that perspective. She'll talk about it, and then we'll move from there.
Good morning, everybody. So we did have a usher meeting this week, and in preparation for the meeting, I dug back. I went back and found this unfinished document that we had from 2017, and I just resurrected it and added some things to it, but like Pastor said, it's a work in process document. And what you see, like where I wrote scripture on the side, we have several scripture verses that are going to be at the beginning of this document as we complete the process that relates to ushering. And our team, we discussed it, and they did say they want those scriptures as a part of this document. And in our discussion with Ben and Pastor at our meeting, our plan for the ministry is thinking about what's next. And we had some slight discussions about recruitment, reaching out, new personnel, and our process for the ministry. How are we going to do it? And there's some other things that were going on in our meeting, about safety and about maybe changing our routine as we go forward, because it's gotten changed dramatically once we came back from COVID. And we also lost a lot of members who are not coming back, so we're dealing with what we have. And those that are there, we have a new purpose. And like on the second page, because I added the list of members, and we're going to go through this list too and make modifications based on who is committed to still being an usher. And the degree of commitment, which is one of the bullet points, got to be committed to God first, and then the ministry, so that we're all in the same, aligned up to do our jobs as ushers. And then, as you can see, there's not a lot of information on this second page because it's still a work in progress. We'll be discussing it at our usher meetings going forward so that we can make sure everybody's on the same page, and hopefully in the end we'll have a document that, if we have to hand it up to the church office or whoever, we can do that, and for those who may be coming along behind us. And I'm just grateful that during our meeting that Phyllis made the decision to stay. She was waving her badge at me during the meeting like, I'm ready to hand it in. And then we found out that someone had to step down for health reasons. And so when that announcement was made, I was looking at Phyllis, okay, do you want to come up? Trying to get her, tell me to tell her thing, and she didn't come up. And she says, look, I was ready to hand my badge, and I took my name off of it, and I'm keeping it. So she's staying with us, and we're really grateful for that. So that's the kind of thing we need. And that's kind of, any questions on any part of what I've done, so what we have done? I'm just typing. I'm getting feedback from the team, but any questions about how we were doing the process? Okay, great. So for ministry leaders,
I don't know of a better example for your map than I could give you of this right here. Your purpose is there. The plan for the ministry should be on your in your map, even if the plan is not mapped out yet. What are we gonna? So what that is? It's conversations. Conversations. It's conversations for your team. So when you start writing out your map, you're gonna write this out. You're gonna begin to work on your purpose. So meetings, whether you're meeting at the church, whether you're Zooming, whether you're meeting sometimes at the church and sometimes Zooming, these are things to talk about. You talk about my purpose. Then you talk about the plans. And you may say that we can get usher books, we can talk to other ushers in other churches, we can consider the needs of our church. What does our church need? And develop your plans out of that. And yes, the COVID changes do include probably some of the plans that all of our ministries have to make as a result of the changes. And then here it is, the objectives. That's the same as when we talked about our dreaming, our clarifying. You want your objectives there. And I just wanted you to look at this so you could begin to see that it's not rocket science that we're asking you to do, or that I have to do as well as you, that we have to do so that, and we want this done for 2023. We actually want a packet, a booklet, put together with so everybody can look and see what everybody's, and then other people can say, oh, I like that, and I want to be a part of that ministry. I want to be a part of that ministry. And then, of course, your roster, who's on the ministry. People attract people. I love this piece about the degree of the commitment, the degree of commitment, because we talked about it's first God. It's first God. We're serving God. Your scheduled meetings. And one of the things that's really disappointing is when we don't start when we say we're going to start, end when we say we're going to end. People's time are probably we're more scheduled now than we have ever been in our life. I got called to preach in Buffalo, and I had to share with it, I don't have no space for anything else on my calendar this year. That's my answer to anybody that calls me to do anything outside of a funeral, not even a wedding. I have no space. With what's on my calendar, I have no space. No space, no space. I don't want to go preach nowhere. I have no space. No space. That's okay. You have no space. Know when you run out of room. Know when you're tired. Know when you're up to here. That's a part of our leadership. All right. Where I'm going to take us now to would be questions and answers, because that's all I want to do right now. I just want to hear from any of you. The question could be to me. The question could be to the room, and any of us in here will try to assist anybody who has questions. So based on what we've talked about today, there's a mic right here, and because we are live, if you got questions, I'd like for you to come to the mic and give us your questions. Come to the mic. Or comments. If you got comments or observations, whatever you need to say, this is the time now, and I'm asking you to get to a mic. Brenda, I just said get to the mic. Brenda just ain't gonna do right. Those of you who are watching us on the press, okay. I do. I plan to meet with the women's ministry. Honestly, I don't have a whole bucket load of ideas. I do have a bucket load of ideas for the men's ministry. Don't have a bucket load, but I want to meet with the women's ministry. There are some things, for me, everything is back. There are so many ideas that I know from former that I can share with the women's ministry, a lot of new ideas that I'm going to share with the men's ministry in preparation for 2023. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, while she's going to, y'all. I certainly would like to have it. Realistically, I would say this is September, and I would say realistically, probably by the 4th week in November, everybody should have their, I think that's realistic, right? By the 4th week in November, we can all have our maps, and I'm going to ask Sister Rainey to be our point person, that they all go to Sister Rainey, and from Sister Rainey to me. Okay? Come on, Sister Cresswell. Oh, definitely. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're supposed to be in the microphone. Come on, Sister Cresswell, and thank you for adhering to the ways of this conference.
I have some trepidation asking this question. My question is moving forward is, will the church, if your next requires financial support, which is a hard question because the church has a budget and we have all of that, would that be okay to, would the church be able to do that?
So,
Or, do we have to map that out, that sort of thing?
Great question. So the question was, if your next, everybody say next. Beautiful. If your next requires finances, there's a piece on here called budget. All right? There's a piece here called budget. And if your next, and I'm glad you brought that up, because while I said get this in by November, if your next has a financial piece, then that needs to be in as soon as possible. And I think trustees want that in October, okay? So if your next has a requirement for finances, and everybody's next can. So here's the thing. Make sure, that's why all of the things that you want to do for 2024 that will require finances, put it in your budget. I cannot promise you that every dime you request, you will receive, but you will receive a budget that goes along with your ministry based on what everybody else is receiving and the conditions of our financial face. All right, yes. I will. I'm going to get this presentation. That's how I present. I have to present. I'm visual, and I have to. If I want to say I love you, I go find a slide that says I love you. So one of the things that I have to do is I can't send my presentations out until after you've seen them, because if you get mine before you see it, it won't make sense. Because you'll see somebody about to fall off a cliff, and you have no idea what that means until it's been explained to you. So you can handle my presentations now, and I'm going to get them to you. You should probably have them by no later than Wednesday. And I think if you take, they come up on your phone, they come up on your iPad, and I think it would be good, ministry leaders, to open up these presentations during your meetings, and they'll kind of remind you of things that you can talk about and help you. Anybody else? Yes. You're not doing right either, but go on and ask your question. Absolutely. What's that name we call it? Just Us? Wow. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. That's right. Beautiful, beautiful. And as we move forward, that's a thought from the pulpit to the back door on incorporating the next into where we are now. Thank you for that observation, and we certainly have to take that into our map, the map of this church, while we move forward. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
To you too.
Though I'm late, but I've been listening. I just listened to the question that Sister Cummings asked in reference to how are we going to incorporate our youth into the fabric of this church. I believe she said between the ages of 30-something to about 50. There are so many ways we can do it, but first I would like to say this. At times when there is a suggestion or an idea that some of us have presented to various ministries, before I'm going to speak of myself, I can even get the thought or the idea out of my mouth, it's rejected. It's shut down. Sometimes, this is just my observation and what I believe, sometimes if we just listen to what someone else has to say and to see if it may work, there are a lot of ideas change, just like the time of the seasons that you even spoke about, I think Wednesday. Seasons change, but thank God that He remains the same. If we would just think and look and listen and give someone the opportunity to express their feelings and their ideas before they are knocked down to the ground, and they wouldn't have any chance of growing this church, the youth ministry, the tribe, or any other thing within this church. That's just my thought. Please excuse the tone of my voice, but anyway, have a blessed day. Thank you.
So that takes us back to our map where we say step one, that says, where are we? That's a conversation, right? That's a conversation. And what do we do in conversations? Somebody talk and somebody listen. Some people talk and people listen. Step two is, where do we want to go? That's a question. That means somebody talk and somebody listen. And again, we said there are no bad responses. There are no bad. If you come in with all of your answers, then you're always going to shut somebody down. All right? If you come in with all of the answers, you're always going to shut somebody down. But if you come in open, 1, to God, 2, to the kingdom, 3, to this church, local kingdom, and 4, to the people that we serve. One of the things pastors have to understand, we're not kings. We're not queens. We are servants. Leaders have to understand, we're not kings. We're not queens. We're servants. But servant is a good thing. Jesus says, I no longer call you servant, I call you friend, which means that we graduate. But He starts us as servants, and servants are like waiters. We serve people, we serve people, we serve people. All right, great observation. All right, I'm trying to break it down. I'm trying to close it down because I know when we're tired. All right. Listen, yes. So what this presentation is, it's both of them. If you notice, I went through that former presentation. I put in some new slides, but the old slides, so you get the whole thing. You get the whole thing. Mm-hmm. The liaisons. I will make sure that that's circulated in the, you'll get the PowerPoint presentation, and I'll circulate, you're gonna get this, and I'll make sure I get the leaders' to you as well. The liaisons. The liaisons, okay? All right. I get a chance to go to the chicken auction today. Yeah! Hey, listen, it's been great. It's been great. It's been great. Leaders, announcements. Take me to the announcements. Take me to the announcements. Everything that we need is on that screen. Take me to the announcements. That slide, and then I'll know what all we're supposed to be doing right now. All right, we've done our questions and announcements. We just had it. That's it. All right, announcements. Somebody else told me you had some announcements. Somebody else told me that you had some announcements. All right.
Today.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
Tonight.
Give me your announcements.
At September 17th.
Okay, I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their donations, their generous donations for the school supplies. Just to let you know, we had about 25 backpacks delivered, and I was able to stuff 18 of those with all of the supplies that were donated to school number 39. And to let you know that the principal, the assistant principal, the parent-teachers liaison, they were so surprised. They just could not believe that a church felt that way about their school. So anyway, at some point in time, there will be a formal thank you coming, but I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of the things that you've done and all of the generosity and the love that you showed to school number 39.
Can I do this, Brother Hugo? Let me say thank you to those people who attended the service virtually. We're going offline now. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Our service starts at 10 o'clock. And we hope that those of you who are listening to us now and throughout the rest of the evening, that you will join the Mount Olivet Baptist Church, 141 Adams Street, in our worship service on tomorrow morning. Looking forward to a great day. You are invited. We're gone now, but thank you for joining us. Bye.